Sure.
Just push me out of the way if you need to.
Talk right over? Okay. Anyways, tonight I just take a few minutes of your time to inform the township, effective immediately, Mr. Eddy's permission to be on any properties owned by Mr. Letourneau is hereby rescinded. Additionally, never at any point did Mr. Letourneau agree to pay for services provided by Mr. Eddy. No payments will be made at any point to Mr. Eddy from Mr. Letourneau. Hold on here, I lost my phone, I'm sorry. The entire basis of the case that the township presented to the courts is a complete fabrication with out-of-date and incorrect information. Your citation is issued to a deceased man. The court order is for a deceased man. Lawrence Letourneau has been deceased for 7 years. I have a copy of the ticket, the original ticket, and his obituary if you'd like to check those out. But he's not alive to prosecute. And he currently has a warrant for his arrest issued by the township, which is pretty impressive as well. But anyways, onward. This case was prosecuted by Mr. Justin Evil. Criminal warrants were also issued for Mr. Letourneau. I mean, it's commonly known that Mr. Evil enjoys speaking freely of others' health conditions while attempting to extort the elderly and the weak. At this point, I feel like you should be made aware of the stress, anxiety, and trauma that this case has put on the Letourneau family. It's taken precious time from his great-granddaughter that she'll never, ever be able to regain time with her grandpa, that he's been spent in anguish over this situation. I don't know. And I guess my next question or statement, because this is not a question and answer, I remember that. His condition is terminal. He's on hospice, and he should have been able to spend all of this time, instead of worrying about his yard and things being taken from him, he should have been able to spend that time with his family. And I guess my question is when did Mr. Evil become elected as a prosecutor? When did he get the authority to prosecute criminal cases? Because that, again, is another, I mean, that's the situation. With moral convictions like that, I don't know. I mean, I would like those ballots recounted, I guess, if that's the case, if he is, in fact, a prosecutor. But that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. But, sorry, Mr. Eddy.
Thank you.
Brett Eddy, 1890 South Huron Road. Want to go over the Resler job that I had acquired at the last meeting. It appears the Letourneau needs to be discussed also. I requested from all of you in an email photos and any documentation you guys had, and I do not understand. I even spoke with an attorney about that. You accepted my contract, and in the contract it stated to give me the court records, so I would know what to take. If there was a list. I don't understand the silence when you accepted my bid. Now, I did have Fred Schmidt come to the Resler job. It was about, I'm gonna say 9 days ago, and he said that it looked great, and that he was willing to sign off on it. And I could tell any of you, I told him that there was still a few things that I was working on with Mr. Resler to do what I feel would complete the job in a manner that we're not going to deal with this again. Now, I did talk with one of the other owners, Betsy Grew, on that property today. We did find, with her help, the lady who was here at the last meeting, there is help for James Resler. For he does not read or write. That fact was stated multiple times, but just to give you an update, good things can come out of the township's ignorance. It just takes people banding together to try to find a solution that's not a threat. This one, I'm 95% done with the Resler job, I would consider. The Laterno job, I would say it's probably in the 70 to 80% range. But now to find out that that's not, kind of dumbfounded right now. Blows my mind. How? How do you put a dead guy? How do you arrest a dead guy? But I guess what we can get at here is please find some solutions and get me some photos. Give me anything that I asked for in that email. That email has been reviewed by legal counsel, and you accepted it as a board. If you're going to pick apart my bids, you have to apply. You have to do that as a board. You can't just pick apart what you agreed to with me. This has caused me a lot of stress. I'm supposed to be done with these jobs on the 13th. I'm going to tell you that Reslers could be done by the 13th, but I'm just, I'm not even asking for permission. I'm just telling you it's going to take a little longer. I've had some health issues that happen, and feel like I might have something else going on. But Sam, God is amongst us. You might not be one of his children, but there's a lot of them here. And I think you should respect that. It's in the Constitution.
Thank you.
And this ain't a question and answer. Is my time done?
Yes.
What am I at?
Almost 4 minutes.
Okay. Well,
So,
find out what's going to go on with this Laterno job, because it's pretty mind-blowing that you guys can screw up something like that. Believable, though.
Lisa Eric, 2890 2 Mile Road. This is actually for Justin. You might want to go through this with those you represent, those laws. And here's a good example.
thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name's Michelle Penix. I live at 53 South Linwood Beach Road. I have a VRBO at 43 South Linwood Beach Road. I would like to state also, and just a reminder, that I am against the elite company coming in. I do live within 10 feet of where they'll be putting these cabins, or whatever you want to call them. 3 of them, just for the board to remember, that it'll be triple the amount of noise, triple the amount of people, triple the amount of animals, triple the amount of parking. I think some people may have seen a video I put out about the parking and the problems we have already in our area and how big they are. It's not just on a holiday weekend or a weekend for a walleye tournament. It's every weekend. It was all weekend. It's been all week also. My house had visitors. I had 11 cars in my driveway. Luckily, we're friends with the marina because they gave us extra parking for people. I agree with what they want to do in a sense, but I think they should do like the rest of us do, which I think might be in part of the ordinance, like have a house that's a VRBO and not several pieces of property. I believe that Mark Pananzek and the marina's against this also. I'm not speaking for them. I just know that I've seen them up here speak for themselves. So I would just like to remind the public and Linwood and its community of what exactly these people are trying to do and bring in. A lot of people come and go. We're on our property. We watch our visitors. Mark Pananzek, he's always on his property. He watches his visitors. Also, the cabin has a rental. They watch their visitors. I don't see the SpaceX being around or Elite. So we might want to keep that in mind of who's paying attention of the amount of people they're going to have. Not to mention there's 3 locations that they also have other than mine. So 3 altogether. So just keep that in fact. It's not just my place. It's 2 other places. So just wanted to make it clear.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Well, I'd like to bring something up. As a resident, Charles Campbell, and I I was surprised when something was brought to my attention. I was appointed to a board, and later informed I was the secretary on that board. I appreciate everything Shirley has done in the previous years and what she's doing to make sure the minutes are getting done now. But the interesting piece of this puzzle was, there was a draft turned in. I had an email from Mr. Davison that said, I don't care how you get them done, just get minutes done. So then when the minutes are done, they weren't quite to their format. But interestingly, the Planning Commission never adopted a format, and according to their bylaws, those minutes were permissible. You might not like because of the detail that was in them, but actually there were quite a few comments about the detail in them. So then I come into a meeting, be blindsided and told, point blank period, that's not your job. Even though I was then previously told that was my job. So we go through a meeting, and the draft is redacted by Mr. Rokas. That's not the problem. The problem comes in when it is redacted by Mr. Rokas, and then on the 12th I'm informed, well, you're still the secretary. That's not what all the people thought. All the people that witnessed it and the people that called me to say, you were fired? How were you fired? You were elected. How did you get fired? I said, no, this is a separate issue. This is about an issue that I had some problems with, and my understanding now is we have the help, and it's appreciated more than you know. Believe me. So, but the time frame, and it's not your fault under no conditions, so don't you dare think that. But the time frame it took to get the redacted minutes posted, and they weren't posted till July, violates the law. They were to be posted within 5 days, and if they weren't, the law says whatever was on there as a draft becomes the permanent minutes. But all of a sudden now, this is permissible, because in Culcahoun Township, we write our own laws. That's not acceptable. And when it comes to the issue of whether or not a prayer can be said, our Senate does it, our Congress does it, the state Senate does it, and if you're saying that we need to talk about it as a board, I officially request that we have a special meeting in reference to prayer to start our meetings. Because, I'm sorry, I have been spoken to condescendingly, and I have messages condescending from you, and you know what? That's not what I got involved with this for. I got involved for us to have a better community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on. New business. The Wetters Road. Back in 2022, we put the Wetters Road ditch up for bids, and the lowest bid was Matt Whelan Contracting. About he didn't get it done in the fall of 22, so he was working on it here in 2023. The road commission, someplace along the line, which he didn't know about, come up to him at the about 80% done stage and told him he had to get his hydro unit off the chip and seal road. So and it took him an extra 3 months to find a rubber tired unit to rent to finish the ditch. So what you have in front of you is the original bid for the ditch. So technically the ditch is completed, but the $1,600 is what it cost him for the rubber tired excavator, and he's asking if we can help him with that part of the bill. So again, it wasn't part of the bid originally. He was out there working on the road when the road commission told him to get off the road.
And they stopped them.
And he had to get this unit here to finish the ditch. So this, I would like to split the bill with him. because we didn't know that rubber tires is all you could put on the road at the time.
Correct. And chip and seal's more delicate too.
I know, but,
Sometimes they go too far
it's how they handle the hydro unit when you're moving,
to not tear it up.
not tear it up. I mean, some of the farmers' tractors on a 90-degree day is awful hard on the road when they come out of the field.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not supportive of eating the whole thing. Absolutely not supportive of eating the whole thing. So if you think you can work some kind of a compromise,
If we could
For the
go
unintended
50/50,
expense.
I'd make a motion
I
to
would-
go 50/50, if he would be considerate of that. And if he's not considerate of that, then share with me exactly why he thinks we should absorb the whole amount.
well, he's mentioned that he didn't know that he had to do it, and of course,
And it's a surprise with the road commission, because they just say stop.
yeah. So,
So I would make a motion for 50/50 reimbursement for the rubber track excavator rental per road commission request.
I'll second that. I think he's, you know, I said you need to make it a separate line item on the bill, because I don't want it just through in the bill. I need to know how much it is, and, I think he'd consider that, so I'll second it. That'll be a roll call vote.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson,
Yes?
DeShano? Yes. Cruz?
Yes. Would be $805.60. My math is
I
correct.
didn't subtract it, but
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
somewhere. All right, hall contract. One of the things that we changed on the hall contract is down there at 16, to speak of if we have security there and it's longer than the 4 hours that we're normally paying for, that the renter will be charged $23 per hour per guard over the 4 hours. Now, usually, a lot of times it goes over 4 hours because the guards usually don't get there till 8, 9 o'clock. And we shut down the hall at midnight. But sometimes it takes a little longer to clear the hall out, but they usually don't charge us more. But that was one of the changes we made from the original contract, is to say that it'd be $23 an hour per guard over the 4 hours on top of the hall rental. You know what I'm saying? Because the first
Right.
4 hours is part of the hall rental.
Correct. Well, the question I had though is because at this point you're using the building longer and your expense is more, that if you go past the already approved time, I believe it should be $100 an hour, so people understand we're serious. Because our guys gotta come over and do an inventory, or if there's any trouble, and if we let them hang out in the building till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't think that's fair to our,
It's in here that they have to be out by 1.
Well, I know, but he's saying that when they go over.
when they go over like this, and it's not an everyday occurrence, but guess what? If you're looking at budgeting out we just had a picnic, and it said 6 o'clock, it was over, and it was over at 6 o'clock. And there were plenty of people there. So that would be a suggestion. I'm not saying we have to do it, but I think, all considered, maintenance guys involved, and plus the security people's involved, you know, it's only fair to them, I believe.
Well, they charge us, we're just putting it on the contract that these people are gonna pay it rather than us. So there'd be 2 different things. We could add then to 12 about the extra $50 an hour or $75 an hour for the hall, and leave the $23 in for security.
If you,
I'm just saying.
no, we can do exactly what you said. I don't have a quorum with that. We
Different
could
line
put that
items.
there's a penalty there if you go past. That may, because in most cases, they end up forfeiting their deposit if they go past. But we can't do that with security for the simple fact, if you never talk about it, it's a sleeping dog.
Right.
That's the only reason I said I thought $100 there, but we could say, you know, if you go past the normal time.
Well, we would put it under 12, where it speaks of the hall is closed at midnight and the hall vacated at 1. And then just put in there it's $75 an hour as
If you go past 1 o'clock, if it's 1:15, then it's $100, you know.
$100 an hour up there, or 75, and leave the 23 for the security.
23.46, so,
So if we did
it
75,
has to be enough that they will follow the rule. Otherwise, $50, you'd say, well, here's $50, I'll just stay.
Well, I was
till-
gonna say, that's another, I mean, you pay the extra $200 to stay another 2 hours, so maybe you say lose the deposit or
well, deposits
Or
are
increase
usually
the
only
deposit.
Or
$180.
increase.
I know downtown basically they had an issue with parking. It used to be a flat $5. And what was happening is most of the people were saying, I'll just pay the $5. It's way cheaper than buying a parking spot.
something. How do we avoid that?
So I think it's gonna be a challenge to go back to people after the fact and say, okay, you owe me $23 now. You may want to contemplate making the security deposit a little bit bigger and still put those terms in there, because it's easier to send a smaller check back than it is to send a check back and then go try to,
So make the
Beat that-
security
beat somebody
deposit $250 and say if you go over, it's
some number.
$50 an hour
Well,
or $50 a half hour.
No,
the
you can-
current damage deposit's $160, it's $150 down as a deposit, but the damage deposit itself is $160. So just so we're.
I'm saying
those
the
two
damage
are-
deposit they come in and put down should be $250. They have our building, our kitchen, our utensils.
No, now you're talking deposit of the 150 holds the hall.
Right, he's talking about the damage deposit,
Right,
that was the
so-
160 going up to 250, which is in line, on line 6.
Yeah, because obviously if they're there late, they've been there, so the 150 becomes moot.
Yeah.
So
So on
the
line
bottom
6,
line is they're gonna get it back, so let's just make the damage deposit $300.
Well, this is gonna
Raise it to
change all of the
140.
computations.
Well, what I'm saying is, we'll make
Yeah,
it 140,
exactly. Well,
make it 300, and then we'll go to line 12, so if we made line 6 300, let's say,
okay. That's,
we've added $140 to the damage deposit.
uh-huh.
And then we might have to put a line in here, in regards to 12 for going overtime and or security on that damage deposit. A line-
Required to be closed by 12, hall to be vacated by 1, or you could forfeit your damage
okay,
deposit.
well, hold on. So
So
this lease document is the same lease that's used, whether it's a wedding, or if it's a birthday party, or an open house, or whatever, correct?
Right.
So
One done.
we're putting in the information here, we're gonna be increasing this damage deposit across the board. So whether they pay, I don't know, $400 for a birthday party, we're still saying a $250 damage deposit. Because of the fact that we have differential pricing for the use of the hall based on what type of event you have, we have to be careful about making a change across the board, because nobody's going to wanna put a $250 security deposit or damage deposit or $300 damage deposit down when they're only paying a couple hundred for the hall. That's a lot of money to have as a liquid asset, just to get it back a month later. So I think that
I
there's.
remember putting
because it's-
$500 down in Monitor, and they did not have that key right on time, and they kept $500 over a key. And the lady told me it was 12 noon, and what they said was, well, didn't you know we had a drop box, and you could have put that key in a drop box? I said, well, why didn't she tell me when she gave me the key? And they kept $500.
So I think that this might require a little bit more fine tuning if we're going to start talking about changing the damage deposit. While I'm not opposed to it, I think if we have differential pricing, then we need to be kind of cautious about that, because what we're trying to fix is the wedding problem. We're trying to fix the problem when there's alcohol. when people are staying until midnight, but that has nothing to do with, you know, Grandma Bertha's birthday party on a Sunday afternoon. It's a completely different situation.
But if you do nothing.